Spelling. The council meeting had ended. Mrs. Beasley sat with her head down quietly, wiping tears from her eyes. The council had just announced the building of the new library and the tearing down of the old. Mrs. Beasley, or Anna, had been the librarian for the last 15 years. She was disappointed that the old library was not going to be renovated, but torn completely down. She only received an unfeeling "sorry" from Mr. Roberts, the mayor of the town, and one of the council members as she left the town hall. She then walked the 5 blocks to the library to finish her day and announce the coming events. It took 2 years, and the new building was nearly complete. Anna had seen the progress of the new building. She stood looking it over, disgusted by the modern style. There were no stones, only the plain red brick. There were no arches, just corners and squares. There were no stained glass windows, only square, clear glass set in dull aluminum frames. No architecture at all, no pillars or gargoyles, only the plain white gutters and spouting. She wondered why the world had turned to such boring styles when the books that were to come here told of fantastic structures and wonderful places. The only escape now was the stories in the books, soon to be stuffed in the common, unstylish building. Back at the library, she set to the task of removing the books from the shelves, putting them in bins to be taken to the new library. She looked over every book she came to. It was out of habit to look and wonder of the story inside. She was informed that the timing had changed, and the tearing down of the old library was moved up. It would be coming sooner than expected. Anna was going to stay late tonight. She needed to clear out as much as she could. When she got to the 2nd floor, she decided to take down the pictures that hung over the busts of famous people along the hall. There were several pictures between the busts as well. She got the small ladder and began taking down the pictures. She came to one that she had seen, but never really knew much about it. The scene was chaotic and somewhat scary looking. There were blurred creatures that resembled nothing. Still, Anna was going to keep it. She appreciated the art. As she lifted it off the stud, she held it tight and could feel the looseness of one side of the frame, stepping down, holding the frame with care. She moved to a table in the room and was looking to see that the mitered corners on one side of the frame had gaps, showing it was not attached to the rest of the frame. Curiously, she pulled on the frame a little to see how loose it was. She was surprised when the side of the frame came off with ease. She then saw the folded corner of a piece of paper. It was between the picture and the backing. She slid the discolored paper out, seeing that it had been there a long time. She unfolded the small sheet with great curiosity. Lifting her head just a little to see through her glasses, she immediately recognized the numbers that were for a book. She knew the system of numbers well and looked up, seeing down the aisle. The book should be in this room. Anna slowly walked to the shelves she knew the numbers told her. The shelf had not been emptied of all the books. She moved to one shelf that had only a small set of books still remaining. She looked them over and was surprised to see the book the paper had described. She pulled the book from the shelf and looked at the title. It said, "Spelling." She was at first confused as to why someone would hide a piece of paper for a book on spelling. She opened the book and was again surprised to see the title page in the book. It read, "A Book of Sayings for Performing Spells." She then realized the book was not how to spell words, but a book on performing magical spells. This fascinated her that someone had hid the message to this book behind a picture. She opened the book and turned several pages. There she saw that there were sayings and a description of what the spell meant. She laughed a little, thinking it was silly to think that the sayings would work. She then found a saying, as it was described, to make a rabbit appear. She laughed a little harder this time. It tempted her to try the saying. "Shawl to call, where you shelter, bring her from Stee, show me, a rabbit." No rabbit appeared. She realized she had laughed in the saying. She took a breath and said it again, only this time in a serious tone. "Shawl to call, where you shelter, bring her from Stee, show me, a rabbit." She was not surprised when no rabbit was there. She put the book back on the shelf and turned to go back to taking the pictures down. When she turned, something on the shelves that were behind her moved, catching her attention. Anna gasped. There, sitting on one of the shelves, was a white rabbit. She slowly reached out to see if the rabbit was real. Her hand touched the soft fur, and the rabbit moved its head in recognition that she had touched him. Anna stood in shock. She couldn't believe she had conjured up a rabbit, but how else could it have gotten here? She reached over and got the book. She opened it and began with the first page. It told of the dangers of the spells if not taken seriously. She then found the first spell listed in the book. It described reversing any spell. She read it through several times and said the saying out loud, "Shoal to call where you shelter, return to stee, run rabbit away." The rabbit was gone. She stood in amazement. Never in her life had she believed in any kind of magic or sorcery. She believed that kind of stuff was of legends and fantastic dreams. But unless she was delusional, what just happened was real. She thought it over and, turning the pages, found the spell for the rabbit again. She said the saying and the rabbit appeared. She then found the reversing saying and made the rabbit disappear once more. She stood amazed. She took the book and decided she was done for the night. She wanted to take the book home and read more. As she was leaving, she stopped at the front desk and found the paper to sign out the book. Out of pure habit, she picked up a pen and started to sign out the book. She held the pen close to the paper and realized several things. If she signed out the book, they would know she had it. Then several other ideas came to her mind. She put the pen down and left for the day. The staff at the library was very glad to see Mrs. Beasley coming in. She had not been in the last 3 days. Anna was walking in with a new confidence. She was shining and everyone noticed. They all gathered around the entrance and welcomed her back. She was also told by one of her staff that the mayor, Mr. Roberts, was to come and meet her today. She informed them that everything would be okay. She went about her day. During the day, she was summoned to the front desk. Standing there was a lady that was from the mayor's office. This lady introduced herself as Patty Schmatty. She told Anna in a somewhat stern and mocking voice, "The mayor wants to see you tonight. He will be running late. He is very busy, you know, with several meetings. He is asking you to stay here tonight until he arrives." "Do you have an estimated time that he will be here?" "No, I do not. But we insisted that you stay until he arrives. I would suggest you make sure of it." Before Anna could tell Patty how she felt about being told to stay, Patty turned and left, stomping her heels purposely, making them echo throughout. The staff went home for the day. Anna moved about in the empty library. She went down the hall where she had found the note in the picture. The many busts of presidents, Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, and even Kennedy had not yet been taken out. She paced the floor as the day had turned to night, and it was getting late. She waited for hours. Then the mayor arrived with a female following. Anna did not recognize the woman. The two walked fast, approaching the main desk with an air of arrogant authority. The mayor could not help but to start talking loudly as if there was an audience of 1,000. Anna was prepared. "Well, Mrs. Beasley, it seems you have been out the last 3 days. I have been wanting to inform you that the time has come." The woman with the mayor made the comment, "This place smells musty and of old books," making a face of disgust. The mayor smiled and continued, "I must say that your position requires little work and no skills. It seems anyone could do this job. I am going to cut funding for the library, and that will start with your salary. We will let you know the details when you are in the new library." Anna started saying something. The mayor could not hear her as she was talking low. "Shoal to call, where you shelter, bring her from stee, bring all these things." The mayor said, "I can't hear you. What is it you're saying?" raising his voice. Anna raised her voice just as she was saying the last lines of the spell. "To life!" The mayor stood not understanding why she said that. About the time he was opening his mouth to ask her again, the front doors burst with a crash of glass. A gargoyle appeared, standing up tall, then growling, then howling. The mayor and the woman turned to see, in horror, the creature as it began to come toward them on all four legs, leaping. Anna watched with a smile as the mayor and the woman screamed. Then more gargoyles appeared, and spirits, ghosts, came flying past with a blur. Sounds of screams, growling and howling, and wretched voices filled the air as more and more of them came. The mayor, with the woman clutched to his arm, ran, going up the stairs to the second floor to try and escape the horror. They came to the hall with the busts. Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Kennedy's faces were alive, shouting at the two. "Run and hide," Lincoln told them in a shout. Washington shouted, "Get out while you can!" Kennedy and Jefferson chimed in, "Run, get away from here before they get you!" The woman screamed again. The mayor stumbled along with fright, hollering out as the spirited ghosts dove at them when they flew past, screaming at them. They retreated back down and were confronted by a gargoyle standing directly in front of them, mouth open, showing his fangs and growling. Another gargoyle came, and the two gargoyles started to fight with each other. The mayor slowly moved away, helping the woman now nearly passed out. He shook the woman back to awake, and stumbling along the two were headed to the broken glass doors. Anna watched with a smile as a hideous spirit of a ghost flew up to them and stopped to scream at them just before getting to the door. The woman and the mayor screamed in horror as they ran out. Anna was satisfied. She reversed the spell, and all went quiet. She smiled and slowly went to the phone to call the police. She would need to report the breaking of the glass of the front doors. As she talked to the dispatchers, she told them that someone had thrown something at the windows and the mayor with his friend ran out scared. The police showed up immediately. It took some time, and the police found the mayor and the woman. Anna acted surprised when they told her that the woman was not his wife, and they were both rambling on with insanity. The police said they thought the two may be highly intoxicated or on drugs. They found them near the new library. Several minutes later, Anna heard the call come over the officers' radios that the new library was on fire. They then showed her the stone that was found by the front doors. The stone looked to be a foot shape with claws, possibly from one of the gargoyles. One of the officers said he shined his light around outside, and one of the gargoyles on the building's roof was missing a foot. The officer said, "It looks as though this place could use a little fixing up. I wish they would go ahead and do that instead. Maybe they will now." The excitement faded, and soon Anna was left standing with everything becoming so quiet. She went to the task of cleaning up the glass. She didn't care that the doors were open. There wasn't much left inside for anyone to take. She left and, walking home, passed the burned-out smoldering shell of the new library. One of the firefighters that was on the scene told her it was a total loss. She felt a sense of loss of the books that were inside. Anna was at the front desk. She was helping the guests of the library with the joy and happiness she always had. She saw the suited gentleman waiting his turn to be helped. As soon as she was finished with the lady she had been helping, the handsome gentleman approached, holding out his hand to shake as he said, "I was told of you. You must be Mrs. Beasley, is that correct?" Anna had never seen this man before and tilted her head in curiosity, saying to him, "Yes, I am Anna Beasley." "I am Rick Hanna. I am the new mayor. It looks like you got all of the books and items back that belong here. Is that correct?" "Yes, it is. I was quite surprised. I thought they were all lost in the fire." "Well, they found them. Everything had been stored in trailers ready to be sent off. Mr. Roberts had loaded the new library with plain paper, making it look like books. He was going to sell all of the belongings and books of the library, and had someone set the fire to collect on the insurance. He not only was charged with embezzlement and fraud, but from what I understand, his wife is divorcing him and suing him for infidelity. Both he and his gal friend are institutionalized as being insane. No one is sure what happened that night, but they are both totally insane. What a shame, but I sure am glad we got our stuff back. Mrs. Beasley. You can call me Anna. Okay, Anna. I was looking over the funding for the library. You had not only lost funding by Mr. Roberts, but none of the funding that was there ever reached you. He would redirect your money. I am going to issue a proposal that will renovate this library completely. I appreciate the arts and love this style of building. I want you to be involved with the renovations. Oh, and as well, I was looking at your salary. It is way past time you received a raise and the correct wages. I will put that in effect immediately. Anna was smiling. She then looked up as she heard the loud clicking of high heels. Mr. Hanna also noticed as he turned to look. He said, "Oh no, not her again. This one has been following me everywhere." It was Patty Schmatty, stomping in with her high attitude. Anna started a spell in a very low voice. Suddenly, Patty Schmatty was swatting at the air, turning in circles, letting out short screams. No one could see the bees growing in number gathering around diving at her. The bees suddenly disappeared. The next thing she saw was a large snake wrapped around her arm. She was flailing her arm, screaming in horror as she tried to get the snake off. Everyone watching only saw her flailing, looking silly and insane. Anna talked low, then the attack on Patty stopped. Patty looked around confused. She started for the desk again, then saw everyone looking at her. She looked at Anna and, talking insanely, mumbling and babbling on, decided to leave. Rick then turned back to Anna, asking, "That was strange, so you were saying something?" "Oh, it was nothing really. I just thought she was going to stay for a spell."